In the last 24 hours, I took 50 videos off of my iPhone and used ChatGPT to turn it into YouTube videos, articles, and ads. And I'm going to show you exactly how I did it using ChatGPT Atlas with agent mode activated. I'm Dennis Yu, your marketing mechanic. I was a former search engine engineer over 20 years ago, and I've learned that the machine you need to build for your marketing is something that we can describe step by step so that you can understand and take control of your marketing. I've spent over $1 billion on Google and Facebook ads, and we train up tons of young adults and AI apprentices to be able to do the same. So let's go through what actually happens when you edit a video. So I had 50 of these videos on my cell phone, and these were ones that I shot at conferences. These were podcast episodes. These were lightweight moments as I was traveling, and I'm sure you have them as well too. You can see on my phone, I have 70,000 photos and videos here. I was at a trade show here in Vegas the last couple days, a bunch of HVAC technicians and marketing people and whatnot. And I want to be able to go from these moments into YouTube, which also includes Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, social media snippets, and turn them into articles on my personal brand website, which you should have, and my company website. And what would typically happen in the days before is that you would hand this off to a virtual assistant or someone on your team. And the math of it works like this. We know that on average, it takes about 4 hours of someone to be able to process a video. Now, they could be using whatever their favorite video tools are. A lot of people would use Premiere or whatnot. Maybe you're doing that yourself. But let's just say it takes 4 hours. We see new people take like 8 hours, but let's say it's 4 hours to do that. And for any one video with 4 hours, and let's say $10 an hour, that is $40. And if you multiply that times 50, you're looking at $2,000 to be able to process these videos. And because of that, because it's so much effort, because you have to hire someone on Fiverr or Upwork or whatnot, most people, they have constipation and they just have all these items that are here that never make it all the way across. Well, in the last 24 hours, I was able to take these items and it cost me $100 in credits in ChatGPT, in my ChatGPT business account where we have lots of people, and I'm going to break down exactly how this works. I'm making this video for two audiences. One is for you humans to understand. So you understand, like, as we're building these tools, maybe you're a plumber, or maybe you're a landscaper or an HVAC technician, and your crews are gathering lots of photos and videos. Maybe it's in your company cam, it's in your Service Titan, but you've got a lot of this that you want to be able to pull forward. Maybe give it to your agency, give it to your young adult, whatever. You want to make those reviews, those stories, those moments be seen. And none of the alternatives look really very good, because when you hire an agency, they might say like, okay, we do like 10 of them per month, and that's $2,000, because they have to mark up what their cost is to be able to do that. And let's say they're employing people in the United States, and instead of $10 an hour, they're $30 or $40 an hour. Now this cost is $8,000, and now they're going to charge you some other amount. They're not going to do 50 of them. They might do just do the math, and you could see like that's kind of how it's been done. Whether it's done by another human that you pay as an agency, or it's done by yourself, like the math just doesn't work out. So here's what you do, and this is why I think all this hype around AI. You see people talking about AI but not really demonstrating it. I've got videos demonstrating as I've been doing this every day the last 12 days since the Atlas browser, ChatGPT's browser, has been launched, and you can watch these videos and see me actually doing them. I have them right here on the computer. Okay, so the stuff that's stored on your phone needs to be put into a cloud repository, and I'm a big fan of Google Photos, and there's many reasons we'll talk about later about why it's Google, and most of these guys have a limit of 4 terabytes, but I'll show you a workaround on how you can increase it to much more than that. I also like iCloud And iCloud gives you storage as well. If you have an iPhone, which I recommend that you do for many reasons, there's something called the Apple One plan, and that bumps you up to 4 terabytes. I think they increased the price, so maybe it's like $40 a month, but it's totally worth it. If you ever lose your phone or something bad happens, it's always backed up and automatically backing up. And this is so key to have this kind of dual storage, because I'm lazy and I don't want to have to be uploading and downloading and remembering like, oh yeah, I shot this video with somebody, or this the whole like file messing around nonsense is just so frustrating that it just causes people like me and probably you to not even want to do this. So if it gets into Google Photos has something that you might not know about their AI they've had for years, is facial recognition. And it sounds sort of weird, but when I go into my Google Photos, remember this is automatically coming from my phone up into Google Photos and I'm paying the extra money. You can see that it's automatically adding, whenever I am doing stuff, it's uploading, but it's adding these items to these different folders based on who it's with, what we've done, where it is. So you can see I was at a conference and it shows who, it's automatically updating. Look, here's an Dylan Haugen, Jeff Pebley, Kevin Lee. So all of these items, like here, I was with AJ Wilcox, as you can see, last week, and it's automatically added to AJ Wilcox. So when you drop me off at the airport, then that automatically goes into that album. So anything with AJ Wilcox I've had over the years is there. I was with John Haynes in Salt Lake City. That's automatically being categorized. And most people don't realize this. So look, here's my boarding pass for tomorrow on Frontier. You can make fun of me. But all of these photos and videos are automatically tagged. Now, if I take any one of them, so let's say that, you know, this one here, I'm with Joe Crisara. If I look at the eye, click on the eye for the information about that, it's going to show me who it's with, faces that have to be added, where it is, other information about that, and it's your VA that's built into Google that's automatically grabbing everything that you might want to have. So you can see that it's organized everything by who it's with, by where it was, by the activity. You might not even realize you've had this the whole time. But the issue is that you need to initially train Google's AI to know that you can do this. So if I come here and I see all these different faces, I had to initially come in and say, all right, that's Dr. Lyons of Cocoon, that's Brennan Agronoff, who's our SOC guy. So the first time he comes into my phone or Google Drive, I have to click on that and say, add face, you know, Brennan Agronoff, there's Brennan Agronoff, but you can see everything with Brennan Agronoff over the years, right? Lots of stuff over the years. And I don't have to go through my phone and tag anything you do with, you know, being on a roof, or anything in Minneapolis, or anything with Brennan Agronoff, or anything with playing paintball, or, you know, speaking at Social Media Marketing World on stage on March 2nd, 2020 in San Diego. So why is this so key? Why is it important to to put this information into Google so that all that information on who it's with and EEAT stuff, which we talk about in other episodes, this is the real truth. There's so much fakery going on, generated AI stuff, you can't even tell that it's real, that when you have these actual moments where it is undeniable, this is truth of what's happening, this then can be processed into other kinds of content that kind of retains that chain of custody, if you will. So if you're a detective or a legal person, you know what I'm talking about, where anything that comes out over here, I can prove that this actually happened. I was actually with that customer. I actually did that thing. And it's not about how I'm using AI to try to trick Google, which is all these SEO people are like trying to trick people like me as a search engine engineer. I'm like, why not? If you're not guilty, why are you acting this way, right? The AI people are the same way. They're just the latest version of trickery, trying to trick ChatGPT, or here's all these ways you can rank on ChatGPT by tomorrow. Like, it's trickery. We always want to start with the real proof of that. So the more fakery there is, the more important it is to be legitimate, right? That whole thing. So if this is going into Google Photos, and Google Photos is automatically categorizing by the name, by the location, which is really key, because if you're a plumber in Dallas, you want to be able to show that you're in Dallas, and by the activity, and we carry this through, then ChatGPT can use that information too. Do you see where I'm going with this? This is so obvious, but it wasn't until we had an agent that could do that, a virtual assistant, that you can name your VA whatever you want. They're not from the Philippines or Pakistan, they're from the country of ChatGPT. So this here goes into your Google Drive. Now, most people screw this up because they don't realize that it needs to be a shared workspace drive. What does that mean? So by pushing these various photos, categorized by album, categorized by the person, or however you want to do that, when it's a shared workspace drive in your company, so Google Workspace, which is the company Gmail, I think it's like, they've raised their price, it's like $15 a month per person. So let's say there's 5 people in your company, so now you're paying $75 a month for everyone to have access to this shared drive. That means any of your team members can come in and put stuff inside this shared drive. It's not an individual drive. It's not your own personal Gmail, even if you pay for extra storage. That's a key distinction. So that distinction plays through how you use team accounts like ChatGPT Business. So you have swarms of agents that are working at different stages along the way. If it's just you and you're trying to do everything by yourself as a one-man band, then you can exit this video. But this is all about employing teams of agents, employing other people on your team, so you as an entrepreneur don't have to do all this stuff yourself. By the way, I've seen some people take these episodes and run it through ChatGPT and say, take everything that Dennis is showing me and implement an agent for that. And it can do that. But if you don't understand what the tool is doing, if you don't understand how things are happening, you're not able to QA it. You're not able to spot when the ChatGPT agent is lying to you, or it's saying, yep, I did that, and it didn't. And as it becomes more human, this is not a philosophical thing. It's actually doing it. It's actually saying, yeah, I did it. Oh, I did it right. Oh, I followed your directions. No, you didn't. I can clearly tell you didn't do that. So just, you need to know enough to be able to keep the thing honest. Because it's trying to please you in terms, and if it can please you by making you think it did the job without having to do the work, then it's going to do that, just like most humans. And this is not just me telling you this. You'll see in all the literature, all the top people in AI are telling you this is true. It lies to you. It's just trying to please you. Like, I'm not going to go down that path. But the point is, understand what is going on here, not so that you can do it all yourself. From the Google Drive, you can upload directly into your YouTube channel as unlisted. And a cool little thing is that when you're on desktop, you can select 10, maybe even 12 of these and upload all of these at once instead of processing one video at a time. So you mark, it's not for kids, mark unlisted, and let it upload, go through all the checks, keep all the settings just as they are. You don't have to worry about transcriptions or any of those kinds of things. And then when it is uploaded, you then, inside ChatGPT Atlas, in agent mode, you say, now write a title and description for this video. And if it's short, it can watch the video, say if it's less than a minute, but if it's more than a few minutes, it's probably better to copy the transcript from the video, where you go to the description, expand it, you can grab the transcript, paste it in, saying, now turn that into a proper title and description. And then my favorite thing to do is from that video, then say, all right, now, because remember, it's inside the browser, now turn that into a blog. We can say, repurpose that into a blog on my personal brand website with that YouTube video embedded at the top. And then it'll do that, but it won't often do as good of a job. So then you tell it, think hard, say, remember our article guidelines, which are published on blitzmetrics.com, or you could upload it. You could also keep it in your company knowledge. There's many ways to keep it. But the key is that there's many steps here for it to check itself. So once it's published here, you say, okay, what else can you're speaking to it, just like I am right now. What else can you do to make this better? Can we include other photos and videos that relate to that topic or to that moment or to that conference or to that customer's job? And if we have these other items already repurposed as other articles, then it can start to do that. And then once it has that, it'll say like, okay, well, you could, make these different changes. You say, yes, please, go ahead and do that, because it'll often stop after 5 or 10 minutes. So it might take 3 or 4 kind of nudges along the way, just like you would with a $5 an hour VA or any kind of human in the US. Say, keep going, make sure it's good, have it QA itself, like, okay, do you think this article's good? And they'll say, oh, it's not bad, but you could do these things, and say, good, go ahead and do that. Obviously, look at the suggestions it's making to make sure it makes sense for you. It'll do things like malform the anchor text, or it'll put the video at the bottom, or it'll have the subject line or a heading in there twice, or it'll misspell words, misspell friends' names. So when I'm speaking to it, like I've probably written 50 articles on Marco Cipolla, who is got multiple businesses, got multiple videos, but it'll often get that wrong because it'll spell it Marco with a C from the dictation, even though I tell it every time, hey, it's Marco, M-A-R-K-O, right? So it doesn't necessarily remember, it keeps making the same kind of mistakes. Maybe that'll change in a few months, but as of November 2025, it's still making these mistakes. So you have to let it keep QAing it. You can take that same video, and you can also, let's say this is one of the videos. You can say, now repurpose that video from the point of view of my company site. So that same video can be another article, but written from the point of view of the company instead of written from your personal point of view. And what I like to do is from that video, once this article is written, I'll say, include in the description a link to that video. And then from the article, I say, embed the video. So this actually goes both ways, which is really kind of cool. It shows that you have synchronicity with your content, which is the whole point of tracing everything all the way back. Now, when you start to have multiple videos in here, you can do really cool things. So one of my favorite things to do when I have a friend who has 50 plus videos in here, I'll say, take a look at the playlists and figure out what are the right set of playlists, how do we reorganize these playlists. Most playlists don't even have a description, if there even is a set of playlists there, and it'll say, why sure, based on the knowledge that you have, based on what's there, I recommend these playlists, and it'll make them. Obviously, the more context you give it on your goal, on who you specifically serve and how you do it and who your ideal customer is, the better it can tune it for those objectives. Don't just say, oh, create playlists, and it's gonna do something okay, but it won't be as tight and in the direction of what you want. So when these playlists are live, you can then start to say, all right, for each of these playlists, let's make a web page here around that topic and write an article that summarizes what some of the key points are. Make sure it doesn't sound like ChatGPT. Don't use cliches or common tropes. No emojis, no em dashes. Don't say, it's not this, it's that. Right? I have to say that almost every time because it makes those same mistakes. So you'll learn how to say that as well. Then you have an article on each of these different topics, which is basically the playlist. So your playlist ties with the topic wheel you have. This is your business. And then there's different topics that you want to be known for, right? I like to say there's 6 of them. You can look at the first episode of The Marketing Mechanic to learn how that works. So when you have these topics corresponding to playlists that have videos embedded in them that tie back to real stories here, you're showing you have massive proof that you say you do what you do. Then when these videos, individual videos are live, you can look at which ones are performing the best. You can say, go look at the analytics on this YouTube channel and see what videos are doing the best and why, how do we make it better? And it'll say, well, this one video is doing really well because in the hook, in the first 30 seconds, you say something about how you solved this problem, or this person's house, or this lady's situation, right? And you can say, awesome, can you pull clips out of that? And I didn't even know this was possible, but it seems obvious now that you think about it. It can go in and use the YouTube editor, and it can trim, and it can pull out different snippets and turn those into YouTube shorts. So you can take that same video and pull out even 2 or 3 different snippets. You might have an hour-long video, like this could be 40 minutes or something, and pull out those different clips and run them as shorts, run them as Instagram Reels, run them as whatever kind of, put it on your Google Business Profile. So many different ways to be able to repurpose. So just imagine, like just one video here off of your phone is now turning into several articles here, several snippets, and the VA, you can name it whatever you want, is following what we teach in the whole Content Factory process. If you look at chapter 3 in the marketing mechanic, you'll see we go into detail on what are the stages that a human would do inside this blue box. But now, agent mode is getting better and better. It's probably like a $5 an hour VA in November, maybe in December, maybe in early 2026, it'll be like a $10 or $20 person, like a US person, eventually better than me. And now that it's learned your content, you don't have to tell it as much the same things anymore because it already has a body of knowledge. It already has the data on what's performing. It's looking inside your Google Analytics. It's looking at what's working inside your field service management system. So let's see, what else do we have to cover here? Oh yeah, so when you've got these different articles that are here, that are repurposed videos, which is probably the easiest arbitrage because it's real authority, it's real experiences. It's not just like most agencies just generate articles on the 10 ways to have your lawn be greener in Bloomington. That's garbage. It can start to link between these different articles in the way that makes sense according to these particular topics. And if you have other friends, let's say you're Anthony Hill of Bloomington Landscape, you can link to other landscapers in other cities in a smart way that you tell the AI, obviously don't break Google's guidelines, do it in a way that honors Google's helpful content guidelines, right? And now you have all these other sites and you're linking, not direct reciprocal links, but you're linking in a way that actually makes sense and is natural and is really helpful for the user, but it also happens to pass you juice. So you're improving your personal brand and reputation because you're connecting to other personal brands. You're helping your company's website because these things that tie to you as the owner tie to the company's site, and other companies are also linking to you. So this shows a ton of trust and authority and respect that you actually do the thing that you say that you do. This is foolproof for all the people trying to do SEO or AI, GEO optimization, because they're looking at tricks instead of making sure everything starts from the raw source. If you found that this was helpful, I hope you like, share, and subscribe. Let me know. What are you thinking? What have you learned? What are ways that you're able to improve this? Are you doing this inside a ChatGPT business account where you can allocate credits between the different people that you have instead of a personal account where you can't buy more credits, where you can't share canvases, where you can't share projects, you can't share these different kinds of agents? If you want to be in our ChatGPT account, which I'm paying for all the credits as of now, so it's like a buffet, you could eat as much as you want. I'm covering the extra credits that people are using. Check out our AI apprentice program. See if maybe this is something that would be a fit for you. We've already built a bunch of these agents. We've already educated them with these different SOPs. If you want to do the free route, everything that we teach here, just like these videos, you can upload in the ChatGPT. You can grab our 318-page content factory guide and upload that and create agents against it. Everything that we teach, you can do yourself for free. We've demonstrated how to do it. But if you want to save time, if you want to be able to leverage the same platform that we are using, if you believe in our mission of creating 1 million jobs for young adults that are managing teams of agents, and if you're like me, I'm 51, I feel like I'm a young adult, I'm young at heart, young in the mind, I can still learn these tools, then you can participate. Let me know, what do you think? And until then, I'll see you in the next episode of The Marketing Mechanic.